Let's go to the mock draft, Tom. It is time. And we want to let the folks know. Trades are coming.
Trades are coming, and there are multiple trades in this one. We're going to have fun with it, so just keep that in mind. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments, but I did finish 12th in the nation last year. So
Humble
come
brag.
at me, Mel Kiper.
So with that, let's get to the number 1 overall pick with the Cleveland Browns. Browns selecting one Sam Darnold, quarterback out of USC.
Yeah, we'll break down kind of the team mindset here for Cleveland. And I think you're right. It's going to end up being Sam Darnold here because they picked up Carlos Hyde. They went out and got Jarvis Landry. Tackle's a pretty big need for them. And, yes, they traded for Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be their franchise quarterback. They could wait at number 4, but Joe Thomas mentioned it earlier in the offseason. Darnold seems to be their preferred target there. I think the Darnold and Browns, it's not quite set in stone. Maybe it won't ever be because the NFL likes to have some type of drama the day before the draft. Watch for like 2 days before, report of, the Browns like so-and-so because the NFL's trying to hype up somebody else at number 1. But as we sit right now, I'll be very surprised if Darnold is not the number 1 overall pick. He, by the way, can sit and learn behind Tyrod Taylor for a year as well.
What about Drew Stanton, though? Who knows? Hit me up in the reaction poll, folks, because we want to know who's going number 1 overall in the draft. Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, or is there somebody else out there? Give us a wow face. Hit us up in the comments section below. And Tom Downey has Sam Darnold going number 1 overall to the Cleveland Browns. Let's go to number 2 overall, and we have a trade alert with that.
Yeah.
So
here's your first trade, boys.
The Giants and the
girls.
Bills trading. What's the deal with this time?
All right, so I think the Bills are going to go up and get another highly touted quarterback. They made the first move to go up and get Cordy Glenn. They're going to go get somebody else as well. In terms of continue to move up. They traded away Cordy Glenn. They want a quarterback. This is about what the price tag is going to be. It ends up being a very similar price to what the Jets overpaid to get the Colts pick based on the NFL trade value chart. So it's the number 12 overall pick, number 22 overall, their second round pick, number 53, that third round pick they got from the Tyrod Taylor trade, and a 2019 second round selection. This is a massive deal for the Bills. I think they go to number 2 or to number 4. And if you're the Giants, maybe you do want to reload and rebuild here. If that's the case, you trade down. You can still get your edge rusher. You can still get your running back later on, especially if you don't want to go get your other player in a minute here. So let's go to I think for the Bills, the pick is going to be Josh Rosen. Allen, I think, makes sense as well, but you can leapfrog the Jets and go get Josh Rosen. I think Rosen is the most pro-ready quarterback this year. He carried a bad UCLA team. Just the Bruins could not block. They could not pass protect. It was bad. He was plagued by drops. People try to make Jordan Lasley a thing. He's not a good wide receiver. I think the Bills and getting Josh Rosen would give them their actual franchise quarterback. And Rosen, I think, is worth that price. It's expensive without a doubt. The Bills can go get their quarterback, though. They have it in this scenario here. It is a very pricey move. They're giving up multiple picks. That's the cost it's going to take to get up to make a deal with the Giants. If the Giants stand pat, 3 names to monitor here, assuming they don't want quarterback, which kind of think that they don't want. Bradley Chubb to help replace JPP. I think that they can also go get Saquon Barkley. I'm not sure he's going to go as high as the people think, but I think that's a little bit of a misdirection here as well. And then finally, I think that also makes a lot of sense as well is to go get somebody else in terms of maybe a Quenton Nelson, help some offensive line as well. So I think that makes sense there on that end. So that's why I have the Bills here taking Josh Rosen with my first trade because, well, trades are fun, right? What's the point of doing a mock draft if you're not going to have fun? So trades, this is not the only trade that we'll make, by the way.
All right, so Josh Rosen there at number 2 overall to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills making the big-time trade, and the Giants are moving back. The New York Jets recently trading up with the Indianapolis Colts, and they want their quarterback, Tom.
You know, there's been some buzz from Pro Football Talk that, maybe the Jets could go halfback because they signed Teddy Bridgewater and Josh McCown. And I'm like, they also signed Isaiah Crowell. So, no, they're not going running back. You don't trade multiple second-round picks if you're not going to take a quarterback. I think Josh Rosen might be maybe their ideal target here. But I think with Rosen and Darnold both off the board, I do not believe the Jets are very high on Baker Mayfield. As a result, the same franchise that took Christian Hackenberg congratulations, you get Josh Allen, who, look, I know the upside is there. You can have an absolutely massive cannon for an arm, but the consistency is not there. He's inconsistent. He misses a lot of easy throws as well. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for him to be a first-round pick. I know the upside's there, but you're asking a lot of development. I don't think that as a prospect, Allen is anywhere near a top 3 guy, a top 5 guy, top 10, first-round, or even second-round guy. He has a fourth-round grade from me, an early day 3 grade, because I just worry we're not going to see the player that he is right now develop into what he can be. Some say stats are for losers. They're not. If you can complete 60% of your passes at Wyoming against other Wyoming-type programs, what are you doing? And not only that, against better competition, Josh Allen was awful. His worst games came against the best opponents. That's not what you want to see in your quarterback. He did not elevate the talent around him as far as I'm concerned.
All right, so there you go. The Jets getting Josh Allen at number 3 overall. Let's go to the number 4 overall pick, the Cleveland Browns, thanks to the Houston Texans. Tom, so the Browns get their quarterback at number 1. What's the methodology here at number 4?
The Browns are trying to win right now. I know that that's a very strange thing to hear come out of somebody's mouth, but that's what the Browns are trying to do. I think this focuses on 3 areas. Halfback, been a lot of buzz about Saquon Barkley. They did sign Carlos Hyde, though. I also think they can just go best player available, which I think would be Bradley Chubb right now. They could also look at a cornerback. I don't think Minkah fits with what they want to do. I would not rule out Denzel Ward. And if the Bills don't trade up to number 2, I think you could see Cleveland trade down at number 4 with the Buffalo Bills as well. But, Cam, maybe this will be a little controversial. I'm going in a different direction from Cleveland than most of the mock drafts I've seen. I'm giving them the best player on the board for most teams. That is Bradley Chubb. Yes, you have Emmanuel Ogbah. I think that John Dorsey's track record as a GM is not to take running back early. Now, yes, they had Jamal Charles, but they spent third-round picks on Kareem Hunt and on Niles Davis when he was in charge of the Chiefs. I think the Browns will not go Barkley at 4 right now. I think they go Chubb instead, and they say, you know what? Let's have the best edge-rushing pass rusher we can possibly have. Chubb and Garrett together again. What a dynamic
duo.
Or not again, but together. What a dynamic 1-2 punch there. That helps the Browns win right now. I think it also increases their talent level in terms of compared to the rest of the roster in the best possible way. I think a trade down, though, is also a strong possibility here.
I made a couple
Call me crazy
to
if you
that
must.
Secondary as well. So the Browns defense in good shape, young and up and coming. All right, so the Browns getting Bradley Chubb at 4. Let's go to number 5 overall, the Denver Broncos. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe it's Saquon Barkley if he falls that far. What direction do the Broncos go
I just don't see them going halfback. And this is also why I think you're going to see Barkley not go as high if the Giants don't take him as high as some think is going to end up happening. With Denver, 2 areas you're going to look. Quarterback, obviously, because Case Keenum is not your franchise guy. And offensive line, namely Quenton Nelson. I think Nelson makes a lot of sense at 5. If somehow 4 quarterbacks go in the first 4 picks, I think Nelson's the pick at 5. But instead, Cam, they get their quarterback. They had an up-close look at Baker Mayfield. I think they like Baker Mayfield more than they like Josh Allen. I think he's a great fit in Denver. He doesn't have to play right away, though I think he actually can play immediately. I think Denver with Baker Mayfield is a really good fit. I think he's a better player than Josh Allen. He's actually my number 1 quarterback in this year's class. I think the Baker Mayfield has the accuracy you want.
I agree.
There are some of the height concerns. He's tall enough. I think some of the arm strength concerns are not really there. He has a strong enough arm. Some minor off-field stuff, but comparisons to Johnny Manziel are not fair, plain and simple.
Yeah, that's kind of lazy analysis, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
All right, so the Broncos getting Baker Mayfield at number 5 overall, and I think he might be the most polished quarterback coming out of this draft here. Let's go to number 6 now, the Indianapolis Colts. Thanks to the New York Jets, they sit here. They were previously at number 3. Where do the Colts go?
Well, they would love to get Bradley Chubb because, man, do they need an edge rusher. Unfortunately, Chubb is off the board in this scenario. If that's the case, they got to look elsewhere. I don't think you're going to see Chris Ballard spend a high pick on a running back because same deal as John Dorsey. Haven't traditionally valued halfbacks early in the NFL draft. You can get somebody good later on, and I am a huge fan of Marlon Mack. Instead, let's make sure Andrew Luck doesn't die. How about Quenton Nelson, who I think is actually the best player in this year's draft? Yes, they signed Matt Slauson. Yes, they brought back Jack Newhart. Those were on almost backup level money deals. 1 year, under $3 million for both guys. Nelson becomes your day 1 starter. He can be a year 1 Pro Bowler, if not all pro as well. He's that talented. outside of maybe the Miami Hurricanes game, which was average, I think, he did not have very many issues there. So I love the addition of Nelson to the Colts. If Chubb's off the board, that's how I think they go if they don't trade down again, because Ballard really wants to build through the draft.
All right, so there's Quenton Nelson there at number 6 overall. Let's go to number 7. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are selecting at this spot. Recently been active at the edge rusher position. Vinny Curry coming on over. JPP via a trade with the Giants. Where do the Buccaneers go now?
Well, it was smart for them to go get edge guys because Chubb's not going to fall to 7. There's just no way the Bucs don't want to trade up and go get him. Nelson, I think, could make some sense, but they brought in Ryan Jensen. They're going to kick Ali Marpet back to guard, and that guard's not really a huge need there. I think Derwin or Minkah Fitzpatrick makes sense. How about perhaps some who something is the best player in this year's draft, even though I'm not on that board, Saquon Barkley. There's your new halfback for the Bucs. As of right now, Tampa's got Peyton Barber. Yeah, so the Bucs need a halfback. They'll spend an early pick there. I think this is the floor for Barkley. He's going in the top 7. In the end, I think in some order for the top 8 picks, it's going to be the 4 quarterbacks, Chubb, Nelson, Barkley, maybe somebody else sneaks in like a Fitzpatrick or Derwin James. But I think Barkley in the Bucs is a good fit. He can now be the focal point of that offense.
All right, so there is Saquon going to the Buccaneers. Let's go to number 8 overall. The Chicago Bears are in this position. Now, they have lost a couple defenders, Willie Young and Pernell McPhee, who just signed with the Washington Redskins, so they have needs on that front 7, Tom.
Yeah, and I think they would love to get Quenton Nelson. He's off the board. This, I think, is the floor for Nelson as well. So I think you'll find the Bears, if Nelson is not available, I think they will try to target an impact defensive player. They can get by with Leonard Floyd and someone like Aaron Lynch or Sam Acho, but I think they do want another edge rusher or a linebacker. Maybe what they really want, though, is a chess piece on defense. And I think Tremaine Edmunds fits that role. He's very raw, but he is a freak athlete. He's built like almost an edge rusher, but he runs almost like a safety. You don't find those types of guys out there. But he's still a little raw at times, will over-pursue a lot, get fooled on fakes. But you draft him knowing, hey, he's 19. In 2 years, we're going to have a guy that is of a rookie age and is entering his 3rd year in the NFL. You draft him for your upside. He's going to go early because he is an absolutely incredible and totally dynamic athlete in the NFL. He can be an edge guy or an inside linebacker guy. I think the Bears can deploy him in multiple different areas in the end.
All right, so there's Tremaine Edmunds going to the Chicago Bears. Let's summarize Tom's picks so far. 1 through 4 we go. Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen to the Bills. Yes,
trade.
That's correct, via trade.
That's the little asterisk is for.
We got Josh Allen to the Jets, and then Bradley Chubb to the Cleveland Browns at number 4. Then 5 through 8 here in our summary presented by AutoList. Baker Mayfield to the Broncos, Quenton Nelson to the Colts, Saquon Barkley to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tremaine Edmunds to the Chicago Bears. You're watching NFL Daily here. Let's continue along in our mock draft. Selecting number 9 overall, the San Francisco 49ers are here at number 9, Tom. You have some interesting needs here. Of course, they brought in Jerick McKinnon, Weston Richburg, Richard Sherman as well, addressing some needs there. You got corner wide receiver as top of the line there.
So, yes, they signed Richard Sherman, and yes, I like Ahkello Witherspoon. I am not quite sold on Sherman. I think in general, the Niners are one of the teams, and we'll mention others later on, that when we put needs up there, I don't know if they have a super pressing need in the same way that the Jets need a quarterback, or, for example, the Dolphins need a linebacker, or the Jets need a new halfback or a new linebacker. The Niners, I think, have built their roster the right way, where if they absolutely had to, they could go into the year with these guys, and they wouldn't have to add anyone in the draft. Now, of course, they're going to. Of course, they're going to look for upgrades at certain areas. So here's the way I approached it with cornerback being that number 1 need. It's almost just a defensive back. You can merge safety and corner together because we'll see what happens with Jimmy Ward. Jaquiski Tartt emerged pretty well. I like Ahkello Witherspoon as well. I like Richard Sherman on that. I think he can be a talented player for you if he's healthy. I'm not sure he's going to be. I think the Niners are happy with their wide receiver core in terms of Garcon, Taylor, and Marquise Goodwin. I'd like to get a younger tackle to groom behind Joe Staley. Safety, if they don't trust Jimmy Ward. Linebacker, if they don't want to roll with Malcolm Smith and Reuben Foster, if they want to get rid of one of those guys, if they don't trust Foster either. I think the Niners in general are in really good shape. They're very young, but they filled their needs with at least passable starters for the most part across the board. So, with that in mind, let's give them perhaps the best player left on the board. I think that is Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I think he'll be a defensive back for Alabama. for the Niners, excuse me. Here's how I envision the Niners using Fitzpatrick in year one. Much like Bama did last year. You put him in as the nickel corner. You put him in as the third safety, as a linebacker. Maybe you don't force him outside to being your outside corner right away. You have Sherman for at least a year, maybe multiple years. Akello can be your outside guy. In reality, this almost becomes your upgrade at slot corner. You upgrade over Kawan Williams. You put Fitzpatrick in on that defense. He's almost your rover. He can play some safety, some linebacker, some corner. I think he's a good fit for what the Niners' current secondary looks like. And I think that's an issue, maybe why you could see Fitzpatrick fall a little bit more than you might expect. I think there is some doubt as to where you want to play him. And if he's going to be kind of that hybrid safety corner guy, how early of a pick do you actually want to spend on that situation? So I think the Niners make perfect sense for Fitzpatrick. I think it kind of fills a need, but in general, when you saw the needs up there, the Niners don't really have a ton of needs right now. They could go with another receiver, but I strongly suspect the Niners like their current wide receiver core. But that's just me.
Credit to Melvin and Nicholas in the comments section. Both called it, Tom.
All right, good.
Fitzpatrick to the 49ers, so they're on board.
That makes me feel good about the pick then.
All right, so there you go. Minkah Fitzpatrick going to the San Francisco 49ers at number 9 overall. You're watching NFL Daily. Cam Rogers here alongside Tom Downey. We're presented by AutoList. Head on to Autolist.com. Get that car shopping done quickly. I'm telling you, don't waste your time going to the dealership or surfing a million sites. Autolist.com is the way to go when you're looking for that brand new car or dream used car out there.
Speed and accessibility. That's what Autolist provides, and that's why I like it.
Speed and accessibility, huh? Kind of like a car, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Didn't do that on purpose. I swear.
Puns.
That was an accident.
Gotta love puns. All right, let's continue on with the mock draft here, Tom, before all my jokes get out of sorts. So, selecting number 10 overall in the NFL draft here, the Oakland Raiders checking in. Recently lost the coin flip to the 49ers. So here are the Raiders at number 10. And Tom, you see Denzel Ward on your screen here, a guy who is a tad undersized, but certainly a viable piece coming out of Ohio State there, a guy you like to go to the Oakland Raiders. But let's talk about the needs first.
So Oakland, I think, is going to target two main areas here. If they don't bring back Navarro Bowman, linebacker, I think, is a big area of focus. I also think corner's an area Oakland still wants to upgrade. Yes, they signed Rashawn Melvin to a one-year deal. They also cut David Amerson and Sean Smith. So as of right now, they're kind of rolling into the year with Rashawn Melvin, Sharice Wright, and Gary Conley. Yeah, that's not really what I want either. Tackle makes sense if they want to get a guy to develop behind Donald Penn, because long-term, I don't know if David Sharp is that true left tackle. I think he could be a right tackle this year, though, as well. So with the Oakland Raiders, I like Denzel Ward here as an option. 1 interception, solid ball skills. He's got great speed. He came in bigger than I thought he was going to at the NFL Combine. He's still a little bit undersized, but as you've seen with guys like Chris Harris, who I think is a pretty good comp for Ward, or maybe a Jason Verrett, you can play outside as a corner if you're a little undersized. It makes it tougher, but if you have the speed and then the physicality, which Ward brings, you can do it. Ward plays bigger than his size. That's a big deal for me. I think last year I was a little too low on a guy like Jordan Lewis, who had a really good year for Dallas. Ward can play nickel corner, but he can also play outside corner, and that's the main focus here for the Raiders. If you want to get someone, you need an outside guy. Maybe he starts the year off in the nickel, but I think Ward's a great fit for Oakland in terms of what they're trying to do. He does bring some speed, which for whatever reason, John Gruden has not liked this offseason. He and Reggie McKenzie have not gone out and gotten speed guys. They've added more depth guys, and if the Raiders do sign Leon Hall, this does not negate them from going out and getting somebody there.
All right, so there are the Raiders drafting Denzel Ward at number 10 overall, according to Tom Downey.